In this lecture, we'll learn about the list group component. This is a flexible component for displaying a series of content as a list. The list group comes in different variations. First, we see the basic example, where we can add active and disabled states to the list items. We can also use links and buttons instead of simple text items. We can use contextual color classes for styling the text color and background color. And we can use badges or in fact any custom content that we want. Let's get started. First, we'll create a basic list group. We'll start by making an unordered list with the class list group. The list items inside will have the class list group item. Let's duplicate this item and change the text a little bit. Let's have a look. Now let's try to indicate the active and disabled states on two of the list items by adding the classes active and disabled. We can now see these states visually. Item number 2 is active and item number 4 is disabled. Instead of using an unordered list to create a list group, we can also create a list of links wrapped inside a div. The div will still have the class list group, and the links inside will still have the class list group item. But in addition, they will also get the class list group item action. Let's duplicate this link and change the text. Let's have a look. It looks exactly the same, but now we also have a hover state on the links. As before, we can also indicate the active and disabled states by adding the classes active and disabled. We now see that link number 2 is active and link number 4 is disabled. Instead of list items and anchor tags, we can also use buttons. Let's just remove some of the links, change the A tag to button, remove the href attribute, and add the type attribute with the value button. The class name doesn't need to be changed. Now let's duplicate the buttons and change the button labels a little bit. Now when we look at it in the browser, we won't see any difference, but it is in fact buttons instead of links. Once again, we can indicate the active and disabled states. The active state is indicated by the use of the class active, but the disabled state should be indicated by the use of the attribute disabled. Let's have a look in the browser. We can see it looks just like it should. Now let's go back to the first basic list group that we created, and let's look at how to add contextual color classes. We now add the classes list group item success, list group item info, list group item warning, and list group item danger to the last 4 of the 5 list items. Let's have a look. We can now see that both the text color and background color have been changed accordingly. The contextual color classes also work for list groups made out of links. To see this, we'll take the example from before and add the same 4 contextual color classes. List group item success, list group item info, list group item warning, and list group item danger. Let's have another look. Notice here that link number 2 have a more bold color. This is because it has the active state indicated by the active class. Let's try and change the active link to the one with the warning color class. Now link number 4 has the more bold color. Let's try to use the disabled attribute on one of the links. We can now see that this removes the colors, but on hover they are still there. Now let's return to the basic list group example and let's see how to use badges. To create a badge for a list item, we simply add it inside the list item, wrapped in a span element with the right classes. For this example, we'll use the classes badge, badge default for the color, and badge pill for the shape. If we take a look, we can see that this works, but it doesn't look that good. One way to make this look better is to use the Flexbox utility class, justify content between on the list item. Let's just duplicate the list item with all the right classes and see what it looks like now. Now the text content of the list item and the badge are justified with spacing between them. That will automatically adjust to the size of the parent element. We have now learned how to create a list group for displaying a series of content as a list. Go on and continue with the coding exercises, which will help you learn the correct structure for this component. In the next lecture, we'll learn about the modal component.